dramatic entrance with a collar flip. Whew. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, I stumbled a little bit there. I was worried if I wasn't going to be able to pull it together, but I think the collar flip at the end, that's the thing that really made it the coolest moment ever in YouTube history. Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Barry here. I'm wearing whale slippers. They're very cozy. Also, pajama pants, because it's kind of cold in this room right now. Okay, so this will be One Piece chapter 1003, The Night Reflected on the Go board. What is the Go board? Well, you ever read Hikaru no Go? Okay, well, I've never read Hikaru no Go. I know there was an anime of it that was on Toonami years and years past. Never really looked entertaining to me for some reason. I mean, this is the same time you got Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho and all this other stuff going on, Yu-Gi-Oh! I could be watching Kaido summoning the Blue Eyes White Dragon, or I could watch people play a board game. I'm sure the anime is amazing, it's just that when it came out, I never really was interested in it, so I should probably go check that out. Why are we talking about Go again? Alright, because there's a little bit of symbolism Oda likes to do in this chapter, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But let's continue on where we left off last time. Oh, we got a cover page where a scorpion is giving Reiju a flower. So yeah, I know I usually kind of dwell on the cover spreads, even if they're just like drawings that don't mean anything. But yeah, considering where we left off last time, let's get into the battle. Welcome this Sunday. Actually, today is Super Bowl Sunday, so that's even more hype there. Okay, so we got Luffy just unloading into Kaido. We start this chapter off with a double page spread, like 5 panels just zooming into Luffy. Various shots of Luffy just pounding Kaido's face in, right? Just bam! Bam! Like every single shot hits. Now, like I said last time, when we do these Gatling type techniques, we're only gonna give Luffy 1 extra point, okay? So for where it currently stands right now, because we already counted the Kong Gatling last time, I would love to keep going with the numbers. I counted 15. 15 individual hits just that we see right now, but, you know, we don't know if that's like the total number, like, because it's a manga, so panel by panel, it's probably a lot more than that, but just from what I counted, 15, and I'm probably wrong too. So I'm just gonna go ahead with that number. I also forgot about the Rhino Schneider last time, so I counted that later. So right now the current standings are Luffy at 5 hits with the Kong Gatling, and then Kid at 2. Then we have Law also at 2. Zoro's only at 1. He's coming up from behind right now. We'll see where he gets to in this chapter. And then we have Killer also with 2. Okay, so yeah, it's a beautiful way to start off the chapter, and also to keep in mind, like, this is Luffy's finishing move. Like, if this was like a normal enemy, if this was just a garden variety Crocodile or Rob Lucci or Doflamingo, like, this might have been it right here, okay? Because Luffy is in Gear 4th, he has his Ryuo, every single one of his mighty fists is an individual Kong gun. Keep in mind that Luffy already did display a rapid fire technique of his Kong gun called Kong Organ. Remember that? He used that against Cracker, okay? Where he took his fists and he just kind of like laid them out horizontally and, you know, moved them around really fast, and he made a Kong Organ. I like to think that's like the transitionary attack to this. It's kind of like the same thing like when Luffy first learned Gear 3rd, he couldn't use Gatling immediately after learning Gear 3rd, because maybe it's like, you know, the fists, the arms are so big, it's hard to like maneuver and everything. Later on, he was able to use Elephant Gatling and stuff. So, you know, by the time Luffy arrived at Tautland, he really only had Kong Organ as his rapid fire technique yet. He really hadn't gotten it down to move in that speed and that way in Gear 4 to land a Kong Gatling, okay? But this is a full power Kong Gatling. It's just insane. Everybody else, like Zoro, Law, Kid, Killer, they can do nothing other than just sit and watch in awe and bust out the popcorn, because when this crap is going on, it's like fireworks on a summer night, right? It's like, okay, Straw Hat just turned into a giant rubber cannonball and is now just bombarding Kaido from above. And like each one of these fists is huge, and when they hit him, you know, it's gonna send out a shockwave and the sound of like crashing thunder, okay? You're not getting anywhere close to that. Kid is insane, but he's not that insane, alright? There's a guy literally named Killer that goes around lopping people's heads off with Spyro, Scyther, Sonic Death Blades. He's not going anywhere near that, right? He's gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna... Big Mom's not doing anything. We're just gonna sit back and watch what happens next, okay? So like I said, though, if this was like any other anime, you know, villain that Luffy had to fight against, you know, this might have been it right here, okay? But this is Kaido we're talking about, okay? So it's not going to be that, but that might have been, like, the natural limit. Like, let's say Luffy would have arrived to the roof by himself, okay? Zoro and Law and the others weren't around. Luffy might have been defeated already at this point because there's a lot of attacks going on at the same time, but this, like, by himself is probably as far as Luffy could have hoped to get, you know what I mean? And so if he managed to, like, fight around and dodge all of Big Mom's attacks by himself and managed to get to this point where he was lined up for the perfect Kong Gatling against Kaido point-blank range, this was about as far as he's gonna get. And then afterwards, Luffy, you know, he does the final epic punch, like he's bombarding Kaido, and then he just puts it all into his final Kong gun, bam, smacks Kaido's face and just pile drives it into the freaking earth, okay? And so that's the final punch, boom! And then, like many balloons before him, Luffy deflates from Gear 4 state. Big Mom is just standing on in awe. You know, she's just like, Mama, Mamma Mia! Have they actually used that joke with Big Mom yet? The Mamma Mia joke? I feel like that's the obvious joke to make, given the fact that, you know, her laughter style is Mama. But at any rate, that's what she would be doing right now, okay? So yeah, Kaido gets his face pounded into the roof of Onigashima. Giant dust cloud shockwave just bursts forth from it. And, yeah, everybody's pretty shocked by that. Big Mom is just like, Kaido? You're still okay, right? Mama. Yeah, okay. So, Luffy deflates, okay. So he's whizzing around the battlefield, and Kid is there just watching him do that, and just like, because from Kid's perspective, he has no idea what's going on here. Killer really doesn't either, right? Law is, you know, well accustomed to Luffy's forms at this point, from like Dressrosa and everything. So from Kid's perspective, he's just bombarding Kaido, and then all of a sudden just... And then Kid's like, whoa, you Straw Hat, when did you get hit? Did he fight back? Is he able to fire invisible fire? We need to know this now. And Law's just like, nah, it's cool. I mean, it's not cool, it's actually really bad, but he did that to himself. You see, the downside of transforming into that giant rubbery cannonball is... I love how, like, you know, Law's teleportation powers, that's a little weird. You know, his shambles is a very unusual technique. Kid literally has the power to make a giant Megazord, but it's like, the weird thing is just like the rubber kid, right? It's just like, well, he could turn into a giant rubbery cannonball, but the downside is if he stays in that form for too long, if he overexerts himself, he's pouring way too much hockey into it to maintain that form, so he's gonna literally deflate. And Law mentions the 10-minute time limit now, and he says like, okay, well, no, you know, Kaido didn't hit him. He's not injured. I mean, he is injured, but whatever. Anyway, he's not going to be able to, you know, use hockey again for 10 minutes. And so we arrived at that conclusion. I mean, this is still relatively early on in the fight. From what we're going to see from the rest of this chapter and the very end of this chapter, no break next week, by the way, so that's a positive. But, yeah, I don't even think we're even like the halfway point yet, and so Luffy's already deflated. There might even be a thing like this happened with Doflamingo, too. Like, he deflated in the middle of the fight, and he had to, you know, wait around the 10 minutes, and then he got back, and then he launched the devastating attack against Dofi. But I don't know. This might happen multiple times. Like, wait 10 minutes, come back, Gear 4th. Maybe he'll use Snake Man or Tank Man next time, and then he'll deflate again. And it's like, all right, another 10 minutes, and then come back 10 minutes later, and then it's like, all right, now I got to show off Lion Man, my new form. I don't know how many versions of this he's going to go through. But Luffy lands on the ground. It's actually kind of fortunate because I always imagine when Gear 4th deactivates, you ever take an actual latex balloon and then fill it up with a lot of air? You know, when I worked at Dollar Tree, we did this a lot because a lot of times I was just bored. So I just fill up a balloon and just... Like, it goes everywhere, right? So I'm worried for Luffy. Like, if Gear 4 deflates, is he gonna go flying off onto the horizon like Team Rocket and, like, land in the ocean? But no, he lands, maybe Law is helping him, too. He lands right in the middle of the battlefield, right? Actually, right in front of Big Mom, so it's not looking good. Big Mom recovers from the shock of seeing Kaido beaten down quite easily, and she's like, oh, well, Straw Hat's right there, and he's all defeated, and he looks like he can't move, so it's time for me to bust out. So this is cool. This is Haha no He, all right? This is the technique, okay? And so there's a reference to the attack that she used against the Sunny back at Totland. Remember the attack she used with Cognac, where she, like, was gonna, like, split the entire Sunny? I think she used it against Jinbei. Like, Jinbei blocked it, remember? So that attack was Haha no Ba, all right? And so this is a play on Mother's Day, all right? So it's, like, the different, because the kanji for, I know Haha, the kanji is in this attack. I don't think it was in the other attack, but, like, the reference or the pronunciation is the same, okay? So it's basically, like, Mother's Day Blaze is what she's using. It's the kanji for mother and the kanji for, like, inferno or blazing, okay? So that's what she uses. It's a giant fire sword, okay? She takes Napoleon Cognac and just raging firestorm, and then just brings it down. Fire just splits the entire battlefield. Zoro jumps in at the last second to grab Luffy, scoop him up, get him out of there. So it's a good thing. Zoro can still move. That's good. I was really worried about that because it seemed like he poured a lot of haki into Enma, or Enma sucked out a lot of his haki last time, and it's like he fell down and then he got electrocuted by Big Mom, and I'm like, okay, he's probably not going to get taken out of the fight. By the way, kudos to Zoro. Remember back in the day during Skypiea when he got electrically shocked by Eneru and he was just down for the rest of that arc? So good on Zoro. I don't know if, you know, Big Mom's electrical attack was the same as Eneru's or whatever. I would imagine it would be the same, if not stronger. But, you know, Zoro recovered from all of that. And it seemed like, by the way, he drained a lot of haki from that attack. He might have took the brunt of that electrical attack without armament haki to protect him. So I guess Zoro's just a tank. What do you want? Anyway, Zoro comes in, scoops up Luffy, gets him out of there. So it's just like, all right, now we got to do this 10-minute bullcrap. All right, fine. Luffy, of course, is still conscious, but he's doing like the... thank you, Zoro. You're very nice. He's like a noodle, basically. He can walk and run on his own, but he's very drained, and he can't use haki. That's the main drawback. So while this is going on, this is actually pretty tactical. Kid and Killer, you know, Kid noticed, like, oh, okay, well, he got, you know, deflated, but if those attacks actually rung true, if they actually dealt pretty good damage, then this might be our prime opportunity here. So Kid and Killer are ready to go. So Kid gets his Megazord all, you know, up and rearing to go. He pastes that back together. He gets his arms back and everything, and he's just like, let's go. It actually looks like he's honestly modifying the robot a little bit, because I think the robot before looked like a typical Megazord, like the head and the two arms, you know, just like basically a giant metal human, and just like, you know, garbage compactor Kaido or whatever. This time, this version seems a little bit more, you know, like animal-like, you know, where the head is kind of down a little bit, and it's kind of like, you know, so I don't know how to describe it really. It's just like, because it's not a fixed, like, machine, it's like he can, like, rearrange it however he wants. He can make an ancient gear golem, an ancient gear beast, an ancient gear soldier, whatever ancient gears now exist in that archetype. He can make anything, basically. And then Killer, of course, just has the death blades. So they're like, let's go. Let's rush Kaido while he's down, right? And while this is going on, Law teleports up to where Big Mom is, right there on the cloud. He just teleports on Zeus and just like, hey, counter shock. Is like, I don't think, is this the first time Law and Big Mom have really had an interaction? Because that would be funny. You know, Big Mom's like throwing around fire and lightning and everything, and Law just pops in front of her. It's like, hi, how you doing? I'm Trafalgar D. Walter Law. You know, you probably heard of me. Yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. Counter shock later, and he just pops away. So Big Mom is, at least for that one moment, for this one attack, she's kind of, you know, preoccupied, okay? Not really damaged from counter shock or anything, but at least distracted, okay? So right when Kid and Killer are getting in, approaching the crater where Kaido's head is supposed to be, the dragon head just... it just reaches up out of the ground. So imagine that. That's like a scene in like a video game where you take the boss down, and it's like you have a little bit of a time window. It's like, boom! All right, you hit the dragon, he's in the ground. You have 4 seconds to deal some damage to this thing before it gets back up. And it's like, oh man, I gotta rush, I gotta hit it! And then it's just like, it's like, ah, crap, we missed the timer, kid! You know? And so this thing gets up, and Kaido, he doesn't really seem to have any visible injuries on his face. I'm kind of disappointed in that. I kind of wanted to see a black eye or his nose bleeding or missing some teeth or something. But no, he just gets back up, and he's just like, ugh. What? And he looks over at Kid and Killer, and he's just like, where was I? Oh, yeah. Dragon Twister! And so he coils up his entire lower body, and then I think what's going on is he coils it up really tight, and then just unwinds it like a spinning top, which releases Dragon Twister, right? So, you know, Pokemon reference, because Twister is a dragon move. Question, this might just be something related to Japanese mythology I might have missed or something, but is that like a common thing for, I guess, Chinese dragons to do, like, twisters and stuff? I bring this up because it happens here, and then it also is a move in Pokemon. It's a dragon move in Pokemon. It's not a flying move, it's a dragon move, Twister. So I don't know, because, like, in, you know, Western, it's always, like, you know, flames from a dragon. You know, the Western dragons, they breathe fire, they can fly. I don't know, they're not really depicted a lot in, like, Arthurian lore to, like, you know, beat their wings and create giant twisters. I mean, I guess they could, but I guess it's just a much more commonplace thing here, okay, where they they just create whirlwinds and twisters wherever they go. So, at any rate, yeah, Kid's mech gets destroyed again. Just bear with that. That's probably going to happen multiple times in this fight. It already kind of has happened. So the Dragon Twister just releases a big gust of air, and Kid's mech gets kind of washed away by that. And during this moment, Zoro's carrying Luffy. He gets brought into the Twister as well, and Zoro's not paying attention for like a fraction of a second, and Luffy gets swept out of Zoro's arms like Wizard of Oz style, and Zoro's like, "No, Luffy, no!" And Kaido just comes up and just boom, just eats Luffy. So it's like, we gotta get out of here. Oh no, Luffy! Zoro, like, I know, like, this has happened before. Keep in mind, this is not the first time Luffy's been eaten by an enemy. Just go back to Drum Island. Look at Wapol, right? So maybe Zoro's like, all right, he'll probably survive this, but you got to imagine from, like, Zoro's perspective for, like, the briefest of instance, like, the fraction of a second, like, when that actually happened, like, Luffy just got eaten by Kaido, he's probably sitting there like, oh, crap, is he... No, he's Luffy. He's fine, but... Oh, man. Because we were waiting for that. Kaido turns into a giant dragon. We were waiting to see who was going to get eaten. I was kind of waiting for Killer to get eaten and then use the Sonic Blades inside of Kaido. That'd be cool. But no, Luffy, this is the worst case scenario because Luffy can't use Haki and he's being eaten by a giant dragon, okay? And so Zoro, he recovers from that pretty quickly and he's just like, hey, don't be eating our captain. I mean, come on. He's all rubbery. That's happened before. It's just, I hear complaints. It's not very nice. It's not very polite, Kaido. So, Zoro takes out all 3 of his swords. He Hakis up all 3 of his swords, Enma included. So we get to see the armament Haki on Enma with the flame pattern. Looks pretty sick. He's got all those swords there. Which ones does he have? He has, okay, so he's using Enma with his hand. He doesn't have Enma in his mouth. He still has the Wado in his mouth, and then the Sandai, and then the Enma. I don't know if he put the Enma in his mouth or what. Because he did that with Shusui, I think. When Shusui was his blade, I think he put Shusui in his mouth, like, a lot too. Or maybe it was always Wado. Anyway, so Zoro uses Black Rope Dragon Twister, okay? So, this is the upgraded form of his Dragon Twister. There's a few characters that have Dragon Twister-based techniques in One Piece. So, this is the technique we actually haven't seen in a while. He used this at Fishman Island against the Fishman Pirates, the upgraded form of his Dragon Twister, where this version creates a torrential tornado whirlwind, but it doesn't dissipate after the attack. When he used it before the time skip, he would just, like, Dragon Twister and just knock everybody away. This version, like, keeps going. So there was that really cool scene in Fishman Island where he uses that, and it traps a bunch of the Fishman Pirates in it, the new Fishman Pirates in it, and they're getting sucked away by the tornado, and they're like, what? It just keeps going? How long is this gonna keep on, raging? And Zoro's just there, and he had that really cool scene, like, to the endless pits of hell, or something cool like that, right? He's like, it'll keep on going until you end up in hell, something like that. And so he uses that against Kaido. It's been a while. While the whirlwind is happening now, Kaido actually slices into Kaido's body. And Kaido, this is the first time he really notices, like, wait a second, that aura that I'm sensing from this swordsman, Zoro, is it coming directly from one of his swords? So last time, I don't think Kaido recognized the exact origin of the Haki. He just, like, saw Zoro jump into the sky about to use the Dragon Blaze, and then he was like, why am I feeling Odin? Why am I feeling like Odin is here, right? But now, Kaido kind of focuses on the swords themselves, and he actually notices, like, okay, it's not coming from Zoro, it's coming from that blade. And so right at that instant, right before he got hit with the Dragon Twister, or while he's getting hit with the Dragon Twister, he knows, like, that is Odin's sword. All right, once again, Kaido, you had, like, 20-something years to track these damn things down. You didn't put much thought into it. Maybe you thought nobody could use them other than Odin, but still, I mean, don't you think that'd be a cool thing to keep track of, or whatever? So anyway, Kaido's just like, he's very surprised by it too. He's like, wait a second, is that Odin's sword? And then he gets, like, sliced and cut up, and everyone's really surprised by that, like they're actually cutting into Kaido's scales, so the Dragon Twister is. And so he opens his mouth, and blood and Luffy pops out, so he didn't get swallowed quite yet. Once again, Luffy's very chewy, so he can't chew him right away. So he opens his gullet, and Luffy flies out, and just like, all right, we're good. And then, but Kaido is like, all right, okay. You think you can challenge a dragon to a twister competition? Well, Kaido doesn't really, well, he has his dragon claws. He cracks his dragon claws. Crack, crack. All right. You want to have a dragon twister battle? Let's do this. And so he coils even tighter than before, and then boom, uses dragon twister, Gale of Destruction, which basically is the same deal with like the twisters, but now it's the wind scythe blades. So there's wind scythes coming off of all around, like just a crazy area of effect attack that just shreds the entire battlefield. Probably even more destructive than his wind blade breath that he had, because that's like a direct like focus. If we're gonna use D&D terminology, I would say the wind blade breath is like a cone of effect. So here's the origin point, like that's Kaido's breath weapon basically, and it spreads out like this. This attack is omnidirectional, so he's like coiling himself up and then releasing this insanely high pressure wind that's just coming from all directions, 360, okay? And so that's just hitting everything there. Luffy's still getting knocked around the battlefield. You see him bouncing around and stuff, like he hits the ground and then wind blades are going everywhere. Law is using his shambles to like warp, like whoa, whoop, 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 and he's like, you know, shambling around the battlefield. Kid, I guess, is just hoping and debunking on the scrap metal to protect him and all that stuff. Killer's going around and using his blades to kind of like parry the destruction blades. This party's getting crazy, okay? So now we cut back down to the party. Finally, we've been up on the roof for a while. I'm not saying finally like I'm getting bored. It's just that all this crazy nonsense is going on up there. It's going to be making a bit of a racket, right? And so yeah, there's just shockwaves and rubble. I am genuinely surprised the ceiling is still there. Like after everything that happened, like Kaido using the Kanabo turning into a dragon, Luffy's Red Rock, and now Kong Gatling, and then, you know, kids stomping around in the giant mech. I am surprised, and there was already a giant hole in the ceiling. That's the thing. That's like, Kaido already blasted a hole in the ceiling to get up there. The structural integrity of Onigashima, that guy that built this, I forget his name. It was the dude that was like Frankie's, Frenosuke's like master back at the beginning of Wano. I think was his name like Minatomo or something. But anyway, yeah, it was the dude with the nail in his nose. He's the one that actually built Kaido's manor. Like, can we get a round of applause for that dude? Because that dude, whatever, I mean, like, he was kind of a side character in this arc. He didn't really do much, but, man, he did his job. He showed up, and he's like, all right, men, we're going to be building ourselves a castle inside of this giant muffin dome mountain. Get to work. I expect nothing but the best. And, like, I want this to be able to survive an apocalyptic dragon, you know, sea cow battle. You know, I want this to be, you know, all night. I want to see giant robots fighting on the roof being able to, you know, handle that kind of strain on the support beams, okay? And he did his job well, I'll tell you that much, okay? So anyway, we cut back down to the battlefield here. Everything is still just chaotic, but we're not really focusing on, like, Chopper or Drake or what's going on with the Toby Roper or anything. We're actually cutting to just a random room off to the side, which has somehow managed to not collapse yet or be, you know, keep in mind, like, Kaido's entire manor is under here, okay? So it's like multiple towers scattered all over the hall, and there's like multiple levels and rooms inside. So like off to the side, I would say on like the kind of the perimeter of the battlefield, there's one of the towers and there's a room. And inside the room is CP Aegis Zero, the world's strongest intelligence operation, okay? And so we see the members of CP0. We see the dude with, like, I'll show you pictures of them because we saw them at Dressrosa. They were like some of the first members of CP0 to be introduced in the story, right? So we see the guy with the mask and he has a little scar there, and then the guy with the little striped hat, and then the guy that has like really bushy hair and has like the tribal mask that he's holding up to his face and everything like that. So they're there just nonchalantly just chilling out, drinking, having some snacks, and this is where the eponymous Go board is located, as in the title of the chapter, right? And so there's some members of Orochi's group or some other members of, like, you know, retainers of Orochi. They're just kind of hanging out, like looking into the room, kind of, you know, worried about what's going on. It's just like, you know, these are visitors from, like, the world government and everything, and all this craziness is going on. They're probably worried, like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna go fight? Are they gonna stay in here? Are they gonna report back to the government? What's going on? There's a member of, I guess, Orochi's group there, like, playing a shamisen, like giving them some music and stuff. Or I guess that's more of Kaido's group. She has the, you know, like the face tag thing that's kind of resembling the stuff that Who's Who wears, so maybe a member of Who's Who's group, I don't know. But she's there playing the shamisen, and I'm sitting there like, how could you even hear that in the middle of all this nonsense going on, right? Like, the Isoni craziness on the festival hall, people are running around. King is fighting Marco. Queen has the Gatling guns, and he's unloading and everything. Plus, on top of the roof, you got boom, boom, boom. She's going over the numbers, okay? So we got, there were 5,400 samurai that invaded. Out of those 5,400, 400 have already fallen. I have no idea how she just knows this information. Maybe she has a devil fruit, or there's some other kind of way to detect how many people have died since the fight began on both sides. I'm not really sure how you'd arrive at those numbers, but whatever, we have that ability. Also, on top of that, there were 30,000 people working under Kaido, because Kaido originally had 20, and then Orochi had 10, and then Orochi died. By the way, we see Orochi's head. It's still, we just, we bring to you an update on Orochi's head. Just still sitting there, and the members of CP Aijizero are like, man, it sucks that the guy that we were doing our trading partner on all this, he died. So they confirmed his death. Now, I don't know if they actually went up and, checked to make sure, is this a real head, or is he still alive somewhere? Because, no, his head is still there. It looks like it hadn't moved since the last time, Kaido lopped it off. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the logic that Orochi is straight up dead. I wonder if Oda wants us to keep guessing, Oda's sitting there drawing Orochi's head, is he? I'm gonna make them think, is he dead? I know I don't kill a lot of characters in my story, but I'm going to make them think that he's dead, and they're going to think he's going to come back. But no, Oda's there laughing at us right now, drawing it no, he's totally 100% dead. I'm not bringing this asshole back, But his devil fruit, that might come into play later. But at any rate, so we see Orochi's head there. It's doing stuff. And so after, Kaido, beheaded Orochi, his 10,000 men joined Kaido. So now you have 30,000. All right, that's 30,000 men total. 3,000 casualties on that side. All right, so that means actually the samurai right now, in terms of this battle, are winning. Okay, so it was 5,400 versus 30,000. It's now 5,000 versus 27,000. That's 400 samurai down, 3,000 members of Kaido's forces down, okay? Now, this required me to do math, so I had to do this beforehand, because trying to do this here with my hands, that's not going to go well. But I did this calculation, all right? If 400 samurai on the rebellion side of things can defeat 3,000 of Kaido's force, the Beast Pirates and the Oniwabanshu and the Mimawari Gumi and all that stuff, and if this trend were to continue for the remainder of the battle, not saying it would, but if it were to continue at that rate, the samurai, the rebellion, would win. With actually some numbers to spare, if I did the calculation right. Math is power, but at any rate, they bring up, even though the samurai are winning right now, and he has the Go board out, and the Go board is the visual representation, the symbolism of the battlefield, because, I don't know anything about Go, so this is just me. I know there's, Shogi, which is Japanese chess, and then Go is a board game that's more about, you have the stones, you have the white and the black stones, and you have a board that's like a grid, and the goal of the game is trying to, surround enough of your enemy, kind of gaining territory or whatever. And I know you can also capture some of your enemy's stones. I don't know how to play Go. Probably should have watched Hikaru no Go before I did this video. But the whole goal of the game is to get, your pieces to surround, a lot of your opponent's pieces and vice versa, and capture. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most that surround the other, win. That's like a warfare kind of strategic game. That's the point of Go. I have no idea how you play. I have no idea how you move the pieces around or what the rules are, but that's the general premise. So that's all you really need to understand for this if you're like me and you have no idea how Go is played, okay? The basic point is that here, the Aijizero members are laying out the white pieces representing the samurai and the black pieces representing Kaido's forces. So obviously, there's only 5,000 of the samurai, so there's only 5 white pieces on the board. Each piece represents 1,000, and there's 27 black pieces on the board representing Kaido's Beast Pirates, okay? And it's very clear on the board right now, the Beast Pirates are surrounding the samurai. Even though they do have a numerical advantage, at least not a numerical advantage, but at least the way the rates are going, they have an advantage in that regard. But the Aijizero bring up, he's like, well, simply defeating the leader, lopping off Orochi's head, that's not going to do anything. Even defeating the executives might not be enough, because the numbers are just insane. But they do bring up the executives, the Tobiropo and the Calamities, Queen, Jack, and King. And we get little scenes of that. We see a scene with Frank Frankie and Sasaki, Usopp, Nami, and Tama, or they're not really fighting directly against Ulti, we guess. Usopp's like firing off on the distance like, oh man, we're being chased, and Nami and Tama are kind of looking in a direction, like Tama's pointing over there, like, Nami, look at that, and Nami's looking over. We see Ulti charging at something. We see Sanji just running away. We got no context there. Jinbei's just there fighting. Jinbei doesn't look injured at all, so that's good. And then we even see a scene with Yamato and Momonosuke and Shinobu, and it looks like wherever they were still in that, like, the back shed, like the farming shed outside of Onigashima, it looks like an enemy might have found them, or they might have left, because it looks like Yamato is now in combat with somebody, right, as Momo and Shinobu look on from behind Yamato. So now we have the member of the CP0 kind of like talking, narrating over all these battles and everything, and he's just like, please continue to eliminate each other, pirates. He's basically talking about, like, you know, it doesn't matter. Even if they have, like, even if they've taken out more beast pirates than samurai right now, the board doesn't lie. We have the numerical advantage, and if they can't take out the Tobiropo or the Calamities, it doesn't matter. They can take out all the pleasures and the waiters and the lower riffraff all they want. It doesn't matter, okay? If this new generation of pirates, talking about the Straw Hats and, like, the Supernovas, like Drake and everybody, if this new generation of pirates fails to defeat that top echelon, the battle, it's already decided, right? It seems to imply, the way that the Aegis Zero member is talking, is that, like, if any one of the Straw Hats lose to the Tobiropo, like if Frankie loses to Sasaki, that right then and there might be enough, because it's already kind of like teetering on who would win, and it's kind of in Kaido's favor right now, but it's just like, you know, even if this happened, like, with the advantage they have, it's not going to last. So, point is, I think all of the Straw Hats, plus Drake, plus Yamato, they have to win their respective fights against the Beast Pirates and the higher-ranking members here. And if they can't, Marco has to defeat King. And if that doesn't happen, then it's not going to win. But at the end of the day, they're members of the world government. And so they're a little upset that Orochi's dead, because that was their trading partner, but they're kind of taking advantage of that. That's why they're not really getting up and really urgent or anything. That's not like, oh, we must go and assist Kaido's forces or assist Orochi's forces or do whatever. That's why they're really chill, because they're like, oh, so you mean Orochi got killed, and now the Straw Hats and this rebellion and the Heart Pirates and the Kid Pirates are all fighting this massive war on Onigashima, and Big Mom's here too? Yeah, okay, just let them just wipe each other out. Like, who cares, right? Like, we're the government, right? They also bring up, like, if two of the emperors were to fall here, that would really knock things out of whack, but it might also work in the government's favor. It would be a real, like, that's one of the great powers in the world, getting completely, like, two of them being eliminated, but maybe the world government could, you know, take over that gap and manage to have even more ability. But the point is, right now, they're not even getting involved. They're waiting to see. And that's kind of scary, because that's like, all right, we're going to just sit back and see how this battle goes. They might not make their move until the very end. Like, when it looks like Kaido is defeated and Big Mom might be defeated, and the samurai are there cheering, like, we did it! You know, and all the Tobiropo are defeated, like, we did it! We've won! Wano is ours! And then you just hear, like, a creepy 1990s movie villain, like, the slow clap. And then everybody, even though it's like a hallway filled with samurai, they're all bloodied, and there's like dead beast pirates everywhere. King and queen's carcasses are on the ground. You know, everybody's defeated. Even though there's like cheering and everything, they could still hear the clap. It's like, yeah, we did it. That clap sounds ominous. And they look over, and you just see Aegis Zero just walking out of their little room, and just like, well. Good job, everyone. No, really, this was truly an entertaining fire festival. It's gonna go down in the yearbook, definitely. Okay, well, let's clean this up, gentlemen. And then he just, like, snaps his finger, and, like, a shit ton of Aegis Zero members, like, you know, Lucci, Kaku, more people than we, like, the whole Aegis Zero's, like, Stussy, everybody just, whoosh, just comes out of nowhere, and just, like, Shigan, and freaking Rankyaku, and, like, freaking Tekai, and, you know, Lucci's like, Rokuogun, and just, boom, just eliminates, like, a good chunk of the samurai, like, any survivors. And they're like, all right, Wano is, oh, you freed Wano from the brutal dictatorship of Orochi and Kaido. No, good for you, good for you. I'm surprised. I genuinely didn't think that you samurai would be able to do that. Well, guess that means it's room for the world government to walk in now, isn't it? You know, and maybe that guy, because that guy seems to be the leader. The dude with this guy seems to be like, I don't think Lucci is the head of Aegis Zero. Even though he's strong, he's not the leader, right? This guy, he is probably going to be the leader, and he's probably going to be a little bit more intimidating than, like, Spondum was as the leader of CP9, right? Okay, so this guy is going to take off his mask or something. I don't even know if we're ever going to know who he is, you know, but it's just like, oh, it was that guy all along. It was Gaimon this whole time, you know? But no, he takes off the mask and he's like, time for the world government to, you know, take over Wano. They have a lot of sea prism stone and stuff. We could really use that. So it might very well be something along those lines there. And with that being said, though, we now cut to the final scene of the chapter. We actually have an establishing shot of the roof really quick, and the only reason I want to bring that up is because the establishing shot of Onigashima's roof actually includes multiple entrances. Like, you see different, like, caverns, like, caves on the roof, and, like, the doors, and some of the doors are broken in by the attacks of everything going on up there. Some of them are still intact, but that just proves there's more than one way to get up to the roof. So, I'm thinking if there's, like, the Straw Hats or, like, the other members of the Supernovas want to get up there, they could. Anyway, we see that establishing shot, and then we just see smoke and mist, and we see Luffy there, he's still drained, we see Kid, we see Law, and then out of the smoke arrives Big Mom, and then right before the smoke clears, we can only see the silhouette of Kaido, but Kaido has a very different form now, and Law and Kid and everybody see it first, and they're like, Kid's like, what the hell is that? And Luffy's like, is that Kaido? And Law is like, must be his man-beast transformation, must be his zone hybrid form. And so the last scene of the chapter is just this, you know, partially silhouetted image of Kaido walking out, and we can see, like, the jagged, like, scales and the horns coming off of his body, and we see him carrying his kanabo, and Big Mom's next to him, and he's just like, hey, little one! What is it, Kaido? Mama. This is looking like it's getting fun. Glug, glug, glug. He's like, I was just thinking the same thing. And so, end of the chapter, no break next week. I imagine Kaido, we've kind of already seen half of the transformation. In the anime, the first time that he transformed into a dragon back at Okabore Town, they actually showed a scene of like a transition between Kaido in his normal form and the dragon form, so it might look something like this. The way the outline is going, I don't expect something super weird or out of place. I'm honestly thinking it's probably just going to look like Drake's hybrid Allosaurus form. Like, think of that. Like, you got the jagged claws and the bumps and, like, the horns coming off of him. It really looks like that. It looks like his upper half, like his eyes and everything above this is going to be all scaly, and the dragon eyes and, like, the eyebrows, and, you know, he's going to have blue scales, and then the lower half of his jaw is going to be like a human jaw, or like his Oni jaw, and he's gotten a little bigger, his muscles and stuff. But let me tell you, if the dragon form is like his default, like I'm just gonna go dragon to put the fear of God into the, you know, into the civilians of Wano and scare the crap out of them, because when the giant dragon shows up to town, you kind of just throw down your sword right there and just give up. And if that doesn't work, he goes into his, you know, regular form. He kind of beat down the scabbards that way. This is the first time we're seeing this hybrid form. This is not a form that Kaido takes very often or very, like, willy-nilly. You know what I mean? Like, it's really like, I go dragon, and if the dragon thing doesn't work, then I guess I'll go one-on-one in my Oni form, my human form, but if a fight really gets notched up to 11 or 12, it's going beyond. I'm actually having fun. Like, you know, like a good, like, probably like a good 2 minutes of this battle have gone on already. And Kaido hasn't won yet, and he's gotten injured. He got cut up a few times. Kaido's feeling like, you know what? It's been a while since I busted out the old zone hybrid form. Let's bust out the fish, duck, dragon hybrid. And then he goes into it. And, yeah, I imagine it's going to compress every ability from his dragon form into his human form. So he's still going to be able to use Boro Breath and the Lightning Breath and the Wind Blades and the Twisters. He can probably just, like, Dragon Twister. And just doing that is enough to summon a giant twister. Or just the act of him picking up his kanabo and swinging it is enough to send out a bunch of tornadoes at the enemy. The hybrid form is probably going to be his strongest. And he's still huge. He's still built, okay? So, yeah, this is going to be terrifying, but it was nice to see what was else going on in the battlefield. Random kind of cutaway to the Aegis Zero, but it was nice to confirm. And it was already confirmed by Drake and everybody that, you know, Zero is in Wano and they're doing stuff. I imagine it's not just the Zero members we saw. I like to think maybe Rob Lucci, because this is after Reverie at this point. They had enough time to arrive in secret for the Fire Festival, so Lucci and Kaku and everybody, they could still be there. Maybe Kumadori or Jabra, the other members of CP9 that joined up with CP0, maybe they could be here too. So I'm really looking forward to that and seeing what's going to happen here. But they're not going to get involved until the final phase of the fight, or even after the fight is over. Then CP0 is definitely going to get involved. But yeah, that was a cool cutaway. I like the go board. It's like weird, like Oda could just cut to them being like, oh, we're gonna hope the pirates defeat each other. But no, he had the go board. And even me, like I said, I don't know anything about go. That was kind of a nice, cool visual representation. It kind of adds some, like, there's this, these barbaric fights going on and everybody's in the middle of bloody, melees and everything. But then it cuts over to the, ah yes, we are CP Aegis Zero. What does the go board say? Ah yes, the samurai and the peace pirates are in the middle of pitched combat, I see. Big Mom's crew has also been involved. It seems like the samurai will lose ultimately, but you just never know about these things. It adds like a little bit of, I kind of just want the whole thing while this is going on for, like, Queen to turn into a brachiosaur, and then Chopper goes into Monster Point and just punches him, and then Queen just crashes into the room with the Aegis Zero. Like, they wouldn't die, but it would be like, ah yes, we're so eloquent here in our room, sipping sake in the middle of a combat. Boom! And then Queen gets up and says, I'm gonna beat you down, stupid reindeer! And he gets like, ah, damn it, all right, game's over. Let's just go to the ship and wait out the fight and see what happens, damn it. Freaking dinosaurs falling on everything. What's wrong with this island? Oh, they can't leave. Onigashima's floating. Do they even know? Are they even aware of that's happening? They seem pretty chill, considering Kaido's about to drop an island. It's like, yes, we're on this. That'd be super funny. Like, they're in there, like, they don't know. They're like, oh, yes, the samurai, they're fighting. And just, like, there's members of Orochi's court, like, creeping, like, in the room, like, excuse me, Mr. Aegis Zero? Ah, yes, what is it? It's like, you do know what's going on right now, right? Like, you seem really calm. It's like, well, of course we know what's going on right now. Big Mom and Kaido, two emperors, are fighting the strong. No, I mean, like, remember that earthquake that happened a little while ago? Well, there's a lot of noise and chaos. I didn't expect that. No, like, we're literally, like, lifted, like, 300 feet off the ground right now. Like, Kaido is literally a monster dragon. He's, like, taking the island to Wano to crush the capital. And they're like, he walks over to a window and just... Oh, crap, guys, we gotta get out of here! Geppo, oh my god, this actually is happening! Alright, so that would be funny. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the review. This will be Tekking101 and Barry signing out. Thanks, everybody. Later.